At the Posh Girls Club, we drop all the diamonds for fierce female entrepreneurs and businesswomen. We slay in our zone of genius, and we are breadwinners. Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do something that I usually don't do. I'm gonna tell a little story. It's gonna be a little story time. I recently went through a pretty traumatic situation. It felt like for several months. I moved back from the West Coast, from Cali back to the East Coast recently, which means I had a cross-country move. I stored my products in this storage facility, Island Park Storage in San Francisco on Treasure Island. And I had the most traumatic experience from storing my furniture for about 8 months while I traveled. And then the storage facility and the movers, it was like the most traumatic experience. And I talked a little bit about the experience with Priceline Logistics, the movers or the brokers. Like, y'all gotta be really careful out there. I wasn't aware, and sometimes you're not aware until you go through these situations, that there are a lot of scammers out there. There are a lot of people who do terrible business and have terrible business practices. And so the reason for me even sharing this story is because I don't want to see anybody else go through this, right? And so when I think back right before COVID, I had purchased a really expensive product from someone online doing business as an entrepreneur running a supposed business. I paid her for a product, a lot of money for a product, in fact. And she used, and I don't know, I can't say whether she was going through difficulty or whether she wasn't with the COVID scenario, but she used that as an excuse or as a reason for her not to be able to deliver my product that I paid her for, and said that she just couldn't afford it. Like, I don't know what she did with the profit, right? Like, there's a lot of people out here talking about they're doing business, posing as business people and not really having business practices in place. If you're selling a product, like, you don't spend the money before your person gets their product and you've made sure that your customer has been complete, your order has been complete and satisfied, right? She claimed that she doesn't know what happened to the product. Only I saw her 2 weeks later actually wearing the product that I paid her for, the exact customization for it. And I let that go. Like, I went back and forth with her over it. And I said, well, if she's struggling, maybe she's just struggling, right? But the reality is, you're a business person claiming to be a business. You took my money for a product, and then you didn't deliver my product, and then you just left me like out in the wind, right? But because it was an up and coming business person, I let it go. And I think now that's why, even knowing, like I said, that I saw her in the product, she could have taken the pictures of beforehand, but why would she be wearing my product specifically, right? So there were all of these contradictory things around that situation. And so when I got into this new scenario, I was like, there is no way, like, I am just going to sit by and, I want to have compassion for people and I want to have compassion for businesses, but I also am a person in business who holds myself to certain standards for my customers. I treat my customers the way that I want and expect to be treated by other businesses. And so I say that to preference that when it came down to moving back across country from the West Coast, moving from Cali, I stored my furniture at Island Park storage facility in Treasure Island in San Francisco. And while I traveled for about 7 or 8 months, the boys and I traveled Atlanta, New York, like, we were just all over while we figured out where we wanted to land, right? And so put my belongings, which I had just finished furnishing a 5-story house in the Bay. And then we all went remote, and then it was like, okay, go wherever you want. And so I stored everything. Fast forward, I've talked already a little bit in another video about Priceline Logistics, the supposed moving company that I hired when we were ready to get our stuff delivered back to the East Coast. And that was a freaking nightmare. This moving industry, there's a lot of, I have found through talking to other people and hearing other stories, there's a lot of fraud that goes on in the moving industry just based on stories I've heard and based on my experience. And so I can't speak for every company, but these two specific ones that I hired felt like there were a lot of nefarious practices going on. So I talked about in the previous video how Priceline Logistics quotes one price, and then their I guess the person that they brokered out the job to accidentally butt dialed me. And so I heard him talking about, and I didn't realize at the time until it happened to me, but I heard him talking about scenarios where he was basically calling the customer, another customer, BITCH, and he was like, this BITCH is mad at me, but I didn't quote her the price. That was them. So what I figured out in going back and forth with that person was, because I told him, I'm going to call the police and I'm going to give them your name because you are the one with all of my belongings and you're the only person that I know that picked it up. So what they ended up doing was, and I found out from him later on because he was afraid that I was going to call the police and give him his name. He calls me back and he says, look, I have to tell you, I've only been with this company, Priceline Logistics, whoever they contracted out, because the owner wouldn't tell me their name, right? This shit was bananas. So he's like, I have only been with them for a couple of months and a couple of weeks, excuse me. And he's like, this is just what they do. They quote one price and then every single person, like, this isn't, oh, maybe I got the pricing wrong. No, this is their practice. They purposely give you one quote. And then when they send someone to go pick up your belongings before they confirm with you whether you agreed to the other price, which by the way ended up being double the price I was quoted, right? So they send someone, they pick up your stuff and they take it to another location. So my stuff was in San Fran and they moved it to LA, supposedly. I still don't really know. This is what I heard, right? So now you've got my belongings and now you can basically say, now it's like extortion. Either you do the price that I said, or I'm just going to dump your shit. And that's basically what the lady said. Like, and I was like, well, dump it because I'll replace it. And so that is, we got into a back and forth thing because I guess most people just pay it. And I was like, I can replace that stuff. So keep it, dump it, sell it, whatever you want to do with it. But I'm going to talk about this and you're not going to bully me or strong arm me because you took my things without me giving you the right to do that. So that was Priceline Logistics and their bootleg people that they brokered out the work to. That person wouldn't tell me their name, where exactly they had taken my things, right? Can you imagine every single thing you own gone, right? And I mean, I have, like, not to be, to sound like, oh, I got this and that, but I've been collecting. Y'all know I love my Louis Vuitton. I've been collecting Louis Vuitton for over a decade, okay? I'm talking luggage, bags, limited edition collections, fur coats that I've had for years and years. And just, these are things that I have had for years and years. And the only thing I really, really cared about were the letters that I had written to my boys over the years. I should have shipped those, but I never expected to be in this drama, right? So that was Priceline. So, and again, I need to figure out and do a little bit more research because I want y'all to know to not do business with these people. And I told them I'm going to talk about them every freaking chance I get because they really shouldn't be in business. And they don't even care so they present themselves as a moving company online, but they're not. They contract out your work to anybody. So anyone can come in and now have possession of everything I own, which was all brand new furniture because I didn't take anything when I went over to the West Coast. I basically took just 2 or 3 different things, right? But I didn't take a lot because I knew we were going to be rebuilding over there, okay? So yeah, I knew we were gonna be getting like all new stuff. So I didn't take anything new, bought all new furniture for 5 stories. Okay. So that's at least only one level was like the garage and storage. The rest were fully furnished. 4 bedrooms, fully furnished. Chrissy had the whole top floor. So his whole top floor completely furnished. Brand new big screen TVs. Like, this is a lot of stuff, right? So now they have possession of all my things. Now let's backtrack a little bit. That's the story I told in a previous video, and I'll be talking about it more in detail because this is just, it's borderline. It's like this fine line between fraudulent and like just bad business practices. Okay, so it's like that fine line, like how legal is what they're doing versus unethical, right? So let's talk about Island Park Storage in San Francisco on Treasure Island. When they finally, whoever these movers were that picked up my things, and now he's trying to be my friend because I told him I'm gonna freaking call the police on him because he's the one who called to confirm they had my stuff, but to get a higher price after they already had my stuff. He had taken pictures of the storage unit, which I spent a pretty penny for the last 7 or 8 months that my things had been there. And I have furniture that I bought from Z Gallery that I had for like 5 or 6 years, like a really long time, wooden, solid, giant oak, solid furniture that had been completely molded. I got pictures, don't worry. Completely molded. I had a brand new headboard molded. My son's baseball gear molded. Handbags and shoes molded. Fur coats molded. Mold on my Louis Vuitton luggage. I'm talking not only mold, but also covered in dirt. Like, how in the world does the inside of a storage facility end up covered in dirt? So I ended up calling and talking to the owners. Never emailed, never called, never apologized. Instead, they tried to give me like a gag order, basically, like to keep me from talking. And maybe they wanted to give me like $1,500 and over like a couple of weeks or something, which is nothing. 5 stories, y'all, of, let's say 4 floors of a brand new furniture for a brand new house. And you want to give me $1,500 for all my, not only my older things that were ruined, the few older things that I took with me that should last like a lifetime. They should last into my kids' lifetime, because we're talking great quality furniture, but also the brand new things that I purchased, and you want to give it to me over time to make sure I don't talk about it or post about it. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a gag order. I had my attorney actually look at it, and he was like, whoever wrote this settlement up is an asshole. Like, that was his response. And so I was like, you know what? Keep your $1,500, and every single chance I get, my name is going to come up next to your name. My video is going to come up next to your video. So if you've ever had anyone rip you off, treat you like you don't matter as a customer after they've taken your money for months on end, and then cause damage to things that you have now also invested your money in that are valuable to you in any way, feel free to hit up Island Park Storage. I'm going to drop their number and location in the comments, and tell them Tori said to call, and let you know that their business practices suck. Honestly, the way to get to these businesses is to show them that you can't just treat people any kind of way. You can't just collect people's money and not have any compassion for your audience and your customers, because one upset or irate customer could cost your business everything. And now it is my sole mission to let the world know what my experience was with this company, because still Months later, no, after I said, fine, I'll figure out how to deal, no response, no, still no written apology, no verbal apology, nothing to say, hey, you know what? Our facility failed you. If we failed, we at least want to give you back half of your money for the time you stored it, because I may as well have thrown it away. Guess what? I threw it away anyway. I couldn't have molded furniture in my home, molded clothing. So it was really like I then paid Priceline Logistics and their terrible service, courier service, to deliver me furniture that was completely ruined and completely unusable in a safe manner in my home. So that's it for my story for today. If y'all got questions, feel free to drop them. But most importantly, hit up Priceline Logistics, hit up Treasure Island Storage, Island Park Storage on Treasure Island. I'm dropping their number below, and let them know that their business practices suck. And Tori said to let them know. Keep hustling, babes, and do better business. Seriously. Keep hustling, babes. XX Tori.